Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So this video is a quick preview and prediction for Denny versus Hamzah Sheeraz. This fight is for the European middleweight title, held by Denny, and it is on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. Thought I'd get this one out of the way, as at this point in time, it would have meant I would have covered all the fights on this card of consequence. I know Mark Chamberlain is fighting Josh Padley, but I think that's going to go one way. No real point in talking about it. But yeah, Denny versus Hamzah Sheeraz. As we know, going into this fight, Hamzah Sheeraz is the resounding favourite. Ultimately, he's the political A-side. He is the hot prospect. He is the rising star. And, you know, Frank Warren in particular is putting a lot of stock in Hamzah Sheeraz. And quite frankly, Hamzah Sheeraz so far in his pro career has shown some decent promise, I would say. Early on in his career, you know, he did his job in knocking out a load of no-hopers. There were a couple of sticky moments along the way. Had an awkward fight with Bradley Skeet. Got dropped in one of his fights. But in recent times, he really seems to be coming into his own. In his last fight, he picked up a career-best win over Austin Ammo Williams. That was in Saudi Arabia. That was on the 5v5 card. And that fight in particular was billed as almost a 50-50 by a lot of fans. In fact, a fair few people were picking Austin Ammo Williams to beat Hamzah Sheeraz. So Sheeraz came through that test against another up-and-comer. He won that fight pretty well, in my opinion. Obviously won by stoppage in the end. I always felt he was in control and he looked pretty good. Sheeraz is a big, tall middleweight, and in combination with his size, he does the basics very well. Sheeraz has a very good guard, and he uses that guard well to protect his whole body, his face, his chin, and his solar plexus, his torso, etc. He's got a really good technique on the high guard. He's got a wonderful jab, really powerful jab, decent speed on the jab, gets a lot of extension, he can double the jab up. Everything good from Hamzah Sheeraz primarily comes off that jab. When he's most effective, he is boxing behind the jab, whether he's holding centre ring and trying to engage in a boxing match, or whether he's trying to walk you down behind the guard, behind the jab, as he did against Austin Ammo Williams. The jab is the best attribute to Hamzah Sheeraz's game. Behind the jab, he's got a really good straight right hand that carries decent power. You know, throws that right hand very straight, very technically correct. Turns the knuckles over well. And even with things like his hooks, etc., he throws those shots pretty well, you know, in a pretty good technical fashion. But primarily, I think he's best when he is almost like a boxer puncher on the outside. He can mix it up. He can, like I said, tuck the guard and invite you on and punch with you. But that's when I feel he is more vulnerable. He's more open to be getting hit. But yeah, I mean, I think Sheeraz does the technical basics very well. And I don't mean that as a slight. A lot of fighters, even if they get real far, they actually don't have a great basis of solid fundamentals. They get by on other attributes. One thing about Hamzah Sheeraz is I think his basic fundamentals are very good. And combining that with his height and reach, I think that makes him for a dangerous proposition, to say the least. Plus, he's got decent power as well. So yeah, by virtue of him being so tall, so long, and having decent power, and having solid fundamentals, it makes him a tough out for anybody. Especially a guy like Denny, in my opinion. Denny is a good fighter. The last couple of years or so of his career have been a bit of a Cinderella story. Turned pro to no fanfare, was fighting on the small hall shows in Birmingham and Wolverhampton, that area. Went through the English title level, lost a couple of fights. You know, he was one of those fighters who was probably working part-time as well as fighting. Last couple of years, however, Denny's fortunes have turned around. Coming off some really good form, you know, taking the unbeaten record of several unbeaten fighters, Bradley Ray and Brad Pauls at domestic level. He won the European title against Matteo Signani, stopped him, and he also beat Felix Cash in his last fight, another unbeaten guy who was supposed to beat Tyler Denny. So Tyler Denny is coming into some real good form. He's coming into his own, and what he's done is commendable, but I don't see him getting above the level where he's at now. He's a tough guy. Despite his physical limitations, he's developed a style that is effective at domestic level. He can fight out of a crouch. He's very awkward. He's very aggressive. And he's very physically strong. He can mess you around on the inside, really roughhouse you. He's very good at punching with you, is another one of his skills. Actually pretty comfortable in the exchanges. And of course, given his awkward style, plus he is a southpaw, he's got this knack of really disrupting his opponent's rhythm. Like I said, he can fight in a crouch. He can fight leaning back. He can smother you. He can swarm you. He can make it ugly. He's got a very adept style at disrupting your rhythm, and that's one thing about Hamzah Sheeraz is he likes to get behind the jab. He likes to build off that jab. If Tyler Denny can disrupt that, don't be surprised if he gives Hamzah some trouble based on the awkward style. The issue is for Tyler Denny is he's a much smaller guy here. Tyler Denny's about 5'10", whereas Hamzah Sheeraz is 6'3". I'm assuming Sheeraz has a much longer reach also, it looks like he does. So the danger for Tyler Denny is going to be crossing that outside to inside. That's the danger for him, is getting to the inside. Like I said, Sheeraz has a great jab, so getting past that may be a trouble. But if he does, then he's got to worry about the right hand, which Hamzah Sheeraz can shorten, as well as the left hook and the uppercut. These are all shots that Hamzah can throw, and he can throw those shots while timing you. So coming in, Tyler Denny may be at a bit of a risk, but I think it's the type of risk he needs to take, because he needs to disrupt that jab of Hamzah Sheeraz. He needs to offset the height and reach advantage of Hamzah Sheeraz, and the best way he does that is to get on the inside. Because when you are on the inside against Sheeraz, and when you throw, primarily he just shells up and he'll try and throw one back at a time. He'll punch with you, but he won't punch with you necessarily in combination. So on the inside, that's where Tyler Denny could outwork Sheeraz and have moments of success. But the power differential, the height and reach differential, the youth advantage of Sheeraz all plays in his favour, plus the political aid side favour as well. I think Tyler Denny goes in here, gives it a good go. He goes rounds, I'm pretty certain. But ultimately, I think at some point he's going to walk into one too many shots. He's going to walk into a perfect shot. And the timing of Hamzah Sheeraz will more than likely see him through in this fight. Would I be surprised if Tyler Denny made the distance? Absolutely not. He's shown a great chin, good recovery skills, decent defense as well, actually. But yeah, I mean, I look at this fight and I think Sheeraz wins by late stoppage. It's a fight he should win, but at the same time, it's a fight in which he's going to get good rounds in against a real tough, awkward guy. I don't mind this fight for Sheeraz in terms of development. I think he'll learn a few things in there. Plus, it's a European title, so yeah, I think this fight really makes sense for Sheeraz right now, to be honest. They was talking about going right into a world title fight after the Ammo Williams win, but I felt at the time he needed more seasoning, he needed more experience, and I think this is a good fight to get that. But yeah, I expect Sheeraz to win. I expect Sheeraz to slowly grind him down and probably win by late stoppage. What about you guys? How do you see this fight going? Beanie Guy Del Boy. Peace.